Hi, thank you very much for joining us this evening. I'm very much looking forward to being able to share some of the details of the counselling programmes with you, and I look forward to hearing really any of you from any questions that you have. My colleague Jackie is going to be on the chat, so any questions that you have that occur to you through the presentation and you don't think I've answered, please make sure you just put them into the chat, and then my colleague will answer them as well. And there may be some that I'll be able to answer at the end of the presentation as well. So what the presentation is going to cover is really what's involved in coming and studying counselling with us at Richmond, and really what the courses are like, what's involved in the actual studying on the courses, how you're going to be assessed, and really how you go about enrolling on the courses. Obviously, one of the most important things we have to say is that with the current situation, we are fully expecting to start our courses in September online. We've been teaching in that way since March on all our counselling courses, so that you can be sure that everything is ready and tried so when you start in September. So please don't hesitate to ask any questions. This is a kind of an unusual situation for us where I can't see you and I can't really sort of interact with you, but please don't hesitate to have those questions. Okay, so one of the first things we need to think about is, if you're thinking about training to be a counsellor, is what is it like to be a counsellor? And I think that one of the things that's important about counselling is how much it's involved in changing people's lives, or rather helping people to change their lives. And that's very difficult. It's not a question of pressing a button and you've solved something for somebody. This is a question of having the right combination of skills so that when you're a counsellor, you can actually help people to help themselves. Now, because you're helping people to help themselves, there are various feelings and emotions that you have to be very aware of, and being emotionally, mentally resilient is really crucial. It is going to be a challenging role, and you'll find that on the course it's equally challenging, and there'll be times, and I think if you were to talk to any of our students, you'll find there have been times when people are forced to come out of their comfort zone. That's part of the role, that's part of the job. If you have to be open to exploring aspects of your own history, sharing and beginning to think about things are becoming triggers. Many of the things that before you start on the courses, you won't have an awareness that there are issues. One of the things that's important about these courses is that you are committing, and you're committing yourself to learning more about yourself and about others, because you're working in a group and you're learning together with other people. So part of the skills of that is that you must be able to really be able to work in a team as well as a group, and the two things are not the same. So being part of a team and being part of a group are not the same things, as well as being able to work independently. So it's quite stretching, and it's very important that you have the opportunity to sit down and think, do I have the desire to do this, and then start thinking about the skills. So what do we offer? Right, well, we start off with our level 2. If we're looking to be the qualification courses, and you'll see on the screen here that we've got 2 different sets of courses. If I take you to the qualification courses, first of all, these are all accredited by CPCAB, the industry standard award body, who basically have accredited Richmond to offer these courses. The level 2 is the start-off level. Then, if you're successful in this course, you can apply to the college to be approved to progress to level 3, and you'll notice then you can progress if you're approved to level 4, which, as you'll see there, is a 2-year course. But you may think, oh, I just quite like to dip my toe in the water. I'm not sure I really want to go on a qualification. So the courses that we're planning this year that you may be interested in are our introductory courses, and our counselling skills for non-counsellors, and our introduction to CBT. And those are very much intended for people who say, well, I would quite like to include some elements of that in my job, or I'd like to study that for personal interest, but I really don't want to commit to a full qualification course. So you might like to think to yourself, right, well, what's involved? You know, how am I going to cope with this, and what will I expect to be hit with on a normal day on the course? You'll see that the courses run at specific times, and you'll see those on the slide there. They are full year courses rather than shorter courses, and that's to give people time to reflect, time to grow, because there's a lot of work involved, And there's a lot of growth involved. It's not just a question of saying, I've got assignments, I'm going to do them. There's a huge amount of emotional change that you undergo as part of these courses. You'll enjoy the opportunity to have lots of interaction with your peer group, lots of opportunities to listen to them, talk to them, hear their journeys, be part of. The exciting thing is being part of somebody else's journey as well, because there'll be points where the trigger points will say, oh, actually, that's an experience I've had as well. You will have access and you'll be using an electronic portfolio to store your work. No more building a paper portfolio and breaking your back trying to carry it around everywhere. This is an electronic portfolio, so you will at all times know what you've done, what you've still got to do, where your feedback is. It will all be in one place that you can share, quite confidential to you and your tutor and the managers. So you not only have to work on academic things, you also have to be thinking about how and what you're experiencing. You will be expected to present workshops on specialist subjects. You'll be practicing your counselling skills at all time. And you will take place you'll take your part in theory-based workshops. If and when you progress to level 4, you have to be in therapy yourself, then you become a student member of the BACP, which is the accredited, that is the actual industry standard organisation. Again, I just remind you that we are expecting and that all courses will start online. So you have to be familiar with and confident about using technology. So you must have to make sure a computer with a webcam and a microphone. All our evening courses for next year will be at our Richmond campus, but we have new day courses starting next year at our Hillcroft campus in Surbiton. So that's what's involved in a typical course on that. Many people like to find out how they're going to be assessed. Is it a question of sitting down for formal exams? And you'll be either pleased or not pleased to know that it's actually a mixture. There's internal and external. Internal is building this portfolio that I've already mentioned, the electronic portfolio. And that's again where you have to have those good IT skills. And then there's an external assessment that is set through the board, and that's an external set exam. And you have to be successful in both to be approved at level 2 and at level 3. At level 4, in addition, you've got to pass and achieve 100 hours, not 400, I nearly said 400 hours, it's 100 hours in the placement. Because the level 4 is split over 2 years, we do expect you, as do CPCAB, to have undertaken a certain number of hours in the first year. It's to make sure that you're not setting yourself too big a challenge for the second year. And that's something very, very important, and that we do monitor that very, very carefully to make sure that you will have sufficient client hours in year 1. You will have lots of access to tutorials. Tutorials are really important for you to be working with your tutor, making sure that you're acting on the feedback, making sure that you're continuing to make progress, and making sure that you're taking full guidance really from your tutors about how you're going to improve and how you've got to develop. Very, very important to recognise this is not something where you move automatically from level 2 to level 3 to level 4. In many cases, it's actually quite sensible sometimes to have a break in levels, time to reflect, time to decide if you really want to continue. And what we do have is we set up a whole series of progression events at the end of the courses, whereby learners are invited to attend. You can express an interest, and then we'll have the opportunity to sit down and review how you've done on the courses so far, how your assessments have gone, if there have been any issues, anything that you've struggled with, and whether you're likely to have the skills to make the jump to the next level. I think it's very important to recognise the differences between the 2 levels. If, for example, you were moving from level 3 to level 4, you're talking about, in essence, the equivalency of moving from an A level to a first-year degree programme. And that's really important to recognise that progression is something that we're very careful to manage. There are key criteria that you need to adhere to, and that involves attendance. It's impossible to achieve success on the counselling qualifications if you don't attend regularly. And that's something that the tutors are very, very clear about. Tutors support students effectively on the course. They provide lots of guidance. There's a huge amount of talking that goes on, making sure that, and all the tutors are professionally qualified counsellors, having their own practices, so they have full understanding of how to support you and get you through to your goal. We've put there, if those of you who want to look at this link later on, the progression routes that there are for the CPCAB. Now, you may want to ask a question about how you fund the courses. And at level 3 and at 4, there is no funding. Several years ago, the government removed the automatic funding for those courses, and you are eligible to apply for an advanced learner loan. And that's something that it's worth looking at. Again, we've put the link on there so that you can have a look at that and so that you can access that yourself. If you are experiencing any financial hardship, there is a college bursary scheme that will actually help you as well. And again, follow up by looking at the recording of this to have a look at the links. And it's really important that if you have any questions about the finance side of it, about how you're going to manage that, that you do speak to the learner services team and to make sure that you're fully understanding what's available and how you can work on that. I think I wouldn't underestimate how challenging the courses are. It's quite right that they are, because if you go back to that first slide that I shared with you, where I shared with you how important it is to have the skills to be emotionally resilient and to be able to challenge yourself, it's quite right because of the level of complexity of the role that's involved in becoming a counsellor. And we do challenge learners on all our courses, and we do expect our students to cope. If we allow you to come to the course, if we give you advice and guidance and we say we think that you are suitable for training on the course, we do think that you've got the academic skills to do that. But we recognise that for some people, that additional support is necessary as well. And additional support is there to help you and available from the college. There's more information available on the website. There's a specific brochure that's on the counselling courses that you may want to have a look at as well. And when you look back at the link on this, you'll see that we've put there the actual link directly to the college website. Just wanted to take a little bit more time just to explain what we mean about additional learning support. It's important that you make a declaration when you first fill in your enrolment form, if you're approved on this, so that you do actually tell us about any learning difficulty or disability. It's important to that so that you can actually get the additional learning support team to contact you to find out how you're going to cope with the course and what your needs may be. It's really important that you don't leave this until you start to struggle, until you start to say, gosh, I wish I'd actually asked for this. Declare up front. Absolutely tell us that you think that this is an issue. Even if you don't have a diagnosis, it's important to tell us, and then we can follow through. We do have to make arrangements with exam boards for extra time or any other arrangements that we have to make. And it's really, really important that we're able to do that within 6 weeks of you starting the course. So I would urge all of you who are intending to come to the college, and if you are approved after our interview process, that you do actually declare that you have a difficulty or disability. It's very, very important to say that up front to us. Want to just explain a little bit about how we're going to cope with September. Like everybody else in the country, the college has had to very much assess how it's offering the courses, and we very much have to hope that we're going to be face-to-face at some point next year. And I can assure you the college has made a huge amount of effort in considering how we're actually going to return to face-to-face teaching when we can. The counselling area is an area that, of course, we would love to be doing face-to-face work at the moment, but we know that remote teaching and learning is working. CPCAB made every centre who wanted to continue teaching remotely go through a quite exhausting process of checking how we were teaching, what we were doing, before a centre was allowed to continue to work online. And when we do go back, I can assure you that we're already looking at the hygiene regimes, making sure we've thought about entrances and exits, making sure how people can be safe in the classroom. And I know that's going to be something that for all of you is going to be a key issue. So we don't take lightly the fact that we've actually continuing to teach remotely, but we do expect and really hope to be back to face-to-face teaching as soon as it's safe to do so. Very conscious that it's been just a whip through. I want to explain to you in terms of the application process. We do interview all new students. So all students who have not already been on a counselling course in the college will be interviewed. And those students who have been on a counselling course who actually want to go on to the next steps will also have a progression interview. So there's no automatic entry into any of the courses at all. The interview process for new students will involve us in, once you've actually expressed an interest, you will be sent a link which will ask you to do a task, and then you submit the task, and then you'll have an interview with one of our specialist counselling tutors, again online. So everything will be done remotely. So I would urge you to consider to make sure that you do have the skills of being able to manage online. The sheer fact that you're listening tonight or playing the recording back hopefully indicates that you've got access to technology. You'll see there that we put on the slide there how you can enrol. I would just urge you to book your place online. We're already starting our interviews now, just this week for level 2. So we've got places. We haven't started to allocate the places, so it's not too late in any shape nor form. So I would urge you basically to contact us as soon as possible. So what I would like to do now is to actually welcome if there's any more questions and to see how we can manage from there. Jackie, over to you.
Yeah, hi. Oh, Jenny, can you hear me okay?
I can indeed.
So we have quite a number of questions. We've been trying to tackle them as they come. So I've got a terrible echo. Can you hear me?
I can indeed.
Okay. Here's one. Does RAC help with work placements during level 4?
We will give you advice on agencies that do provide placements, but it's advice, and then you will be given an intro that you can actually follow that up yourself. But we do give you advice on which agencies will take students for placements. Yes.
Okay, I hope that answers that person's question. If they have anything else, please pop it on there. The next question, this is quite a long one. Does it take a total of 132 weeks to complete the part-time course up to and including level 4? That's right, the first bit. Do you want to answer that bit first, and I'll give you the next bit?
Because you've got to add up the 30 weeks for level 2, 30 weeks for level 3, and then the 70 odd for the level 4. So yes.
The answer is yes.
Yeah. You were testing my math there, weren't you?
Also, does CPCAB different to BACP, and is it important to be BACP accredited in order to practice?
Yes. The short answer is yes. CPCAB is the actual award body, but BACP is the, now how do I explain it? It's the organisation that manages counsellors. Okay, so that's the difference. So you have an award body and you have an organisation that gives the licence to practice.
Okay, that's great. And what is the expected pass rate in order to progress to the next level?
It's not as simple as pass rate because, and this might sound strange, if you could pass at level 2, that doesn't necessarily mean that level 3 is for you. So it's not as simple as pass rate. I mean, the college has extremely high pass rates because it has very high retention. But there are times where you've coped with one level, but it may well be that it's been a struggle. There's other challenges. It may well be that the level of English that's required for the next level is not what you already have. So it may be that people need to take a break for a year and do a GCSE English or something like that. So it's not as simple as saying just because you pass that you automatically progress. I'll give you an example of this year. We have a student who was very successful on level 3, wanted to do level 4, but it was the right time because of the level of English to say, actually, best to go off and get your GCSE English and then apply to do the level 4 next year, because the level 4, being a level 4 course, means you have to have the skills of analysis, evaluation, synthesis. It's complex, and you need to have those skills ready to do those courses.
Okay, I think that's great. Thank you for that, Jenny. We'll move on to another question. This is perhaps a bit more straightforward. Who are the tutors for the level 4 evening class at Richmond in September?
The level 4, the Monday, the new level 4 will be Kerry.
Kerry, okay. Is personal therapy acceptable via Skype? My therapist has moved to Oxford and we have continued on Skype.
That's an interesting one. It's where I would possibly refer to CPCAB to say, how is that? But I mean, my initial reaction would be yes. I don't know if Pauline is there to actually answer that in the chat, but I would say if there's any question about that, I would check that with CPCAB.
Pauline, if you want to unmute at any point and chip in, just do so.
Yeah, please do.
Yes, obviously we are working in a very different way at the moment, and I know that some personal therapies has been delivered via Skype, Zoom, Teams, where we've been in lockdown. So obviously we would be looking for guidance from CPCAB and I can never say that, BACP, to see what they will accept after lockdown. But bearing in mind that a lot of colleges are still going to be working remotely as of September. I think some of the regulations that they've allowed us to instigate this during this period will continue, but we would obviously seek guidance in order to confirm the continuing of remote therapy.
Thank you, Pauline.
Okay. Going back to that 132-week course again, when you add it all up, it's 132 weeks. This person wants to know, is that actually going to be a diploma or degree at the end of it?
It's a diploma. The level 4 is a diploma.
Okay, that's great. Okay, here's another involved one. After you complete level 2, and if you're successful to progress onto level 3, how many years leeway do you have before you have to start level 3? I.e., can you have a break, and is there a limit to that break?
No, I don't believe there's a limit to the break. I haven't seen any suggestion of that. And I think obviously if you were to leave 50 years, that might not be great. But within reason, I wouldn't have said, I don't feel a break is actually a problem. I think sometimes a break is not a bad thing to have. It's good time for reflection. But no, as far as I'm aware, there's no official, it doesn't lose currency. No.
Okay. When will interviews be offered out?
The level 2 interviews are starting now, and we have a whole series of dates over the next few weeks. And the new level 3 and 4 interviews will be taking place from the week of July the 20th. And throughout the summer, we will have more interview dates. So, you know, there's a selection of dates. We haven't just made it on one day. There's various dates, and because the interviews are being held remotely, they're at different times.
Okay, I'm going to skip through a few of these that I'm just answering anyway. I think you covered how to apply, didn't you? But maybe it's just worth repeating how to apply and enroll for this course.
Yeah, the application is that you contact the college and you will be offered an interview date. And before that, particularly if it's a level 2, you'll be sent a link to do a task. And then the interviewer will ask you a whole series of questions at the interview. The interviewer then will actually pass that information, and you'll receive the decision on whether you can enroll. And then you'll actually be able to take that information. You'll have a letter to enroll, and then you can take it from there. So it's a fairly involved process, and it starts off with you contacting the college to book an interview.
Okay. So someone here missed how long the level 2 course runs for, how many weeks, and how many hours of study should we expect each week? That's a level 2 course.
It's a 30-week course, and it's actually 3 hours in the classroom or with the tutor. And obviously then, in addition to that, you've probably got about 4 or 5 hours a week homework, home study.
Okay, that's great. Some colleges are offering discounted therapy when you're a student attached to the college. Does RAC have any associations like this?
Not to my knowledge. No, that's not something I'm aware of. Pauline, again, I'm not sure if we have anything of that nature. Do we, Pauline?
Not at the moment. No.
No.
Okay, I think we're nearly at the end of these. Oh, here you go. I'll leave that one for you to wrap up with. I want to do my level 4 placement at my workplace. Would I need your approval? It's a higher education institution and I want to be a student counsellor.
Well, the placement is going to be you would have to have a selection number of clients. We would have to have a look at that and see if you've actually got enough. The broad variety would be sufficient to give us the experiences that you need to study the course. So that's one where, if you're approved for the course, what we would do is we would talk with the specialist tutor about whether there's the broad range of experience is going to be sufficient there.
Okay, thank you.
Can I come in on that as well?
Yeah,
it's about the supervision that you're going to be receiving while you're working within that college, because obviously as part of the requirements of the level 4 and the placement, you have got to be in supervision at your workplace. So there would be somebody that's going to be required at your current college that you work off to provide you with that supervisory role.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we've got to the end of most of the questions. Oh no, hang on, there's another one popped up here. Okay, apart from the day for the course and the placement and the personal therapy hours required, how much time would you say is required for independent study per week during level 4?
I personally would want to be looking at least 6 hours a week, because
okay.
I think you've got to give enough time. There's a variety of tasks that have to be done. There are some significant studies, and you also want to give enough time to be looking and reflecting on the theory, as well as all the other things you have to do.
Does the college provide student counsellors who could supervise the students? No,
that's the actual supervision would be looked at by our specialist tutors.
Okay. Right, I think this might be the last question unless any more pop up. But I'm applying to several colleges at the moment, but RAC was highly recommended to me. What do you think RAC does offer versus other colleges?
Well, that's a difficult one. You're drawing
that's
me
maybe
down the line there,
that's maybe also to Pauline as well. But I think it's just a good opportunity to just and a couple of people have asked this, is sort of, you know,
sure.
what's it like at RAC?
I think the importance is that our tutors are practicing counsellors, so they bring that wealth of information to, and they've also, the vast percentage of them have studied with CPCAB before, so they've got that dual role that I think is so important: vocational experience, and they are practicing counsellors, as well as having been through the CPCAB accreditation and therefore understand exactly what you're going through. And I think that will be where I think that RAC scores very heavily in terms of why it's so successful with its counselling courses.
Okay. Oh, another one's popped in. We'll wrap this up in a few more minutes. So if anyone's got any more questions, get them on there now. Tuesday morning, level 2, is that at Surbiton?
I believe so, yes.
Yes, it is.
It is, I'm sure it is, because all the new, yes, the daytime ones are, yes. If you have a look at on the college website, all the locations are being seen there, yes.
Well, what we're trying to do is create a counselling hub at Surbiton. It's a beautiful listed building, and we think it's the right place. There's beautiful grounds, there's beautiful gardens. It's really a good setting, a very large room that is really appropriate for our counselling provision. And as I said, our vision is to make our Hillcroft campus the counselling hub, because we have a very large provision, so it will work beautifully there.
So one lady wants to know, what is the focus in terms of approaches and the class day on level 4? Psychodynamic, person-centered, CBT, etc. Hopefully that makes sense to you.
The course is an integrative course, so there's not one particular model that we focus on, so you get tasters of varying different models. This is also something that will be explained fully at the interview with the counselling tutors, who'll be able to give you more detail on the actual structure on the different theories that that they teach on. But basically our therapeutic program is I can never say that word, integrative model.
That would have been the answer, but I can't say that word either. But I would sort of emphasise there that the interview process is just as much for you to find out if the course is for you as it is for us to find out if you're suitable for the course in any interview situation. And I'd say that for a job interview, the interview is a dual purpose. It's for you to ask questions as well.
Okay, Jenny, I think there's what qualifications do you need for an interview?
It depends on which level that you're actually applying for. If you're applying for a level 3 course, you'd have to have the equivalent of the level 2. But if you're applying for the level 2, you don't actually have to have any qualifications. We would be expecting you to be operating at the level 2 in terms of with your English. And so that would be the kind of stipulation I would be looking at. But the different levels up, you have to have the level 2 in order to do the level 3. And in order to do the level 4, you have to have the level 3.
Okay, I hope that's answered that one. And going back to this BACP and the CPCAB, the question is, does this mean that after completing level 4, you need to then complete a separate course for BACP before being able to practice?
No, achieving the level 4 means you can apply to BACP for your license to practice.
And just to confirm that is in a placement setting. If you want to set up on private practice, there is a top-up program that you would need to do the level 5 at CPCAB. That's normally, we don't currently run that at RAC, but you could get that information from the CPCAB website. That's only if you want to set up as in private practice.
So this question, I mean, obviously the person can look on the website of the prospectus, but maybe we could just announce it now. So the level 3 course is a Tuesday evening course. Is it also on Saturdays or is it just on Tuesdays?
It's on Tuesday evening.
Okay,
and you've got some. Yeah, sorry, Pauline, go for it.
Jenny, you go.
No, it's all right. You say.
I was just going to say that usually on the evening courses there are some Saturdays involved. I know we have just changed it used to be around 5 Saturdays a year, and I think we have just changed that, and I can't fully remember how many it's been increased to. I think there's a difference between the level 2 and the level 3 and level 4 of how many Saturdays are required. But again, that's something that we can definitely confirm at the interview stage. We'll make sure that everybody has that information.
When should we be starting personal therapy?
Are you looking at being on the level 4 course? Is that where is that the question?
Yeah, because they'd only have personal therapy on level 4. But yeah, we usually say that you need to start personal therapy within 3 to 4 weeks of starting your level 4 provision. So if you start in September, we normally say by the first week of October, you should actually start your personal therapy by then. We tend to look at it, I think it's like 36 hours for each year that you do.
Okay, I think we're going to wrap that up now. But what I'm going to do is, for everyone listening, I'm going to pop Jenny's email. She's happy to take more questions after the event. So I'm going to pop her email in the Q&A so everyone can see that. I'm going to do that now. So she can be contacted at jenny.sims@rac.ac.uk. And then Jenny, if you want to just wrap it up, that would be great. And thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you very much, Jackie, and thank you, Pauline. So thank you for everybody who's attending. This is a very sort of odd way that I can't see you and say thank you personally. It's been a pleasure to talk to you a little bit about the counselling courses, and I do look forward to seeing your applications and hopefully being able to set you off on the journey of being successful in your counselling careers. So it's been a pleasure talking to you, and if you didn't come along tonight and you're seeing the recording, it's equally a pleasure, and please don't hesitate to ask any other questions that you might have. Have a good evening and stay safe, and thank you very much for joining us.